But now, for those who've lost someone close to them, remembrance isn't confined to a day or even a week in November. And many have sought solace at the National Memorial Arboretum in Staffordshire, a wonderful, peaceful place to honour the fallen. Historian and author Richard Van Emden has been to visit.
The vast landscape of the National Memorial Arboretum. Among the trees and wildlife, more than 300 memorials. They're dedicated to those people, both military and civilian, who sacrificed their lives for our country.
But this isn't just a memorial to the fallen. It's a place where the nation can reflect and where an individual can remember someone they have lost all year round.
Susan Walton is one of 215 volunteers who, along with a small team of paid staff, welcome 300,000 visitors to the Arboretum every year.
CJ10 for the 15th, 18th Hussars.
Every day we get people coming through who want to find a dedication to someone they know or a regiment that they're associated with. I've got the 15th, 19th, the King's Royal Hussars. Okay. It means an awful lot to people. If they've come to find a dedication, there'll be a reason. Some of them find it quite emotional. It's a privilege when people share that sort of thing with you, so yes, you can't beat it.
Today, on my first ever visit to the Arboretum,
How are you?
Nice to meet you.
And you. I gather you're the right person.
Susan is going to help me find the name of Falklands hero, Sergeant Ian Mackay.
The reason why I'd like to find his name is because he was killed on my birthday. I was 17 the day he died. And I've always, when I've thought about the losses in the Falklands War, he's the name that's always come to mind.
Well, his name will definitely be on the Armed Forces Memorial, so we can look that up.
Around 30,000 names in this 150-acre arboretum have been recorded on the computer, so dedications can be easily found. But maintaining the memorials for those who wish to pay their respects is hard manual labour. That job falls to Deputy Curator James Shawcross. He's taking me to one of the more unusual memorials called Shot at Dawn. It's a tribute to the 306 soldiers executed for desertion or cowardice during World War I.
It's important for you that everything should be maintained, that the weeds should be dug up and...
Absolutely. I'll come down here on a regular basis. The grounds team come down. We're mulching up the bed so it's looking neat and tidy, washing the statues down, cutting the grass, as we do for all the memorials. I regularly get complaints from visitors who say that a memorial is looking dirty. This one in particular, they like to see the statue looking very clean and white.
Great care is also taken to create an atmosphere of remembrance. Visitors place around 500 candles and 2,000 wooden crosses here every week. They can also pay their respects in a service of remembrance.
When the Arboretum was created and the chapel was built, it was felt important that we have service of remembrance with the 2-minute silence. We're the only place in the country that does this on a daily basis.
But as we approach the chapel to take part in the service, my eyes are drawn to a special paving stone dedicated to a World War I hero I was privileged to call my friend.
Gosh, it's really funny to see Henry Allingham's plaque here. I had no idea it was here at all. I used to chat to him about his experiences in the Royal Naval Air Service and the Royal Flying Corps, or the RAF, right up to virtually until he died. I think the last time I met him was at the end of 2008. Yeah, it's lovely to see it.
And as I take 2 minutes out of my day to reflect, it's Henry Allingham and all those who fought in the Great War alongside him that are at the forefront of my mind.
It was a particularly moving ceremony. I was aware of a lot of people who have clearly lost family relatives, and there was quite a feeling of loss and sadness in there. And I realised that that is a ceremony that takes place every single day with a similar sort of number of people.
Among those still grieving is able seaman Ian Baldy's widow, Margaret, whom I meet at the memorial to the Falklands conflict. Margaret and Ian were newlyweds when his ship, HMS Argonaut, was deployed to the South Atlantic. The night before he left, he gave his new wife a chilling message.
We sat there and he just half turned towards me and we were holding hands, but pick the other one up. And as he did that, he sort of pulled me towards him and said, "Darling, I've got something to tell you. I think I'm going to die." And I said, "If you die, I'll kill you."
On the 21st of May 1982, Ian's ship was bombed. The Argonauts survived, but Ian and his shipmate Matthew Stewart didn't. And although the bodies were recovered, they were later buried at sea, leaving Margaret without a focus for her grief. That is, until she found the Memorial Arboretum.
And do you feel Ian is here? Do you feel his presence here?
Yeah, I do. I do. I really do. And it would be too much to ask to imagine that he's nowhere, or that he's in the sea, that he's left there. That's too much to manage. But here his soul and his heart is, and that's a real blessing.
And there is more tangible evidence of Ian's passing at the Armed Forces Memorial. A stunning piece of architecture at the very heart of the Arboretum that honours all those who have given their lives in service since the Second World War.
I remember walking up the path and looked out across at the Armed Forces Memorial, and it absolutely felt like I was holding his hand, and it sort of changed everything.
Margaret had finally discovered somewhere she could find solace. In fact, she was so empowered by her visits to the Arboretum that she's now become a volunteer here, sharing her experiences with visiting school children.
Well, Margaret was such a remarkable lady. And I look at all these names and the children and the wives in a similar position. She's just helped to put this all into perspective for me.
Susan has found the name I was looking for, though my historical curiosity has been overtaken by a sense of awe at the scale of loss this monument represents.
This is the name of the gentleman that we looked up, Sergeant Ian Mackay.
To be able to come to a memorial like this and just to see his name and to see those of many of his comrades and mates, it's very extremely poignant.
New names have been added to the Armed Forces Memorial every year without exception since the end of the Second World War. There are currently 16,111. But more heartrending perhaps, there's still plenty of space for even more to come.